Goeiedag, mijn naam is Luc Sala en dit is Myster. En vanmiddag hebben we weer zo'n interview met iemand die misschien geen boodschap brengt, maar die de mens een spiegel voorhoudt. Iemand die vanuit haar eigen ervaring mensen helpt om zichzelf te vinden. En dan zult u zeggen, nou ja, is dat nodig? Ik voel me goed. Nou, heel veel mensen voelen zich niet zo goed, denken dat hun plek in de wereld niet klopt, dat hun relaties niet kloppen. Kortom, heel veel mensen zijn op zoek naar iets anders. Vaak ook iets buiten en boven zich. Byron Katie komt uit Amerika, uit Barstow, en ik weet toevallig dat het een woestijnstadje is in Californië. En zij heeft op latere leeftijd, ze was toen 43, een ervaring gehad. Een soort, ja, je kunt dat verlichting noemen, maar een realisatie. Daarop heeft ze een systeem gegrondvest van hoe zij andere mensen kan helpen ook die ervaring te hebben. Dat noemt ze het werk. We gaan even met haar praten, want ze is deze maand in Nederland en ze geeft workshops. Welcome. This was in Dutch to explain who you are. Now I explain a little bit about the work. You call your teachings, can I say, the work. Now that's a fairly simple thing. It makes it look very simple. Is it simple?
It's entirely simple. If it weren't simple, I never would have discovered it. It's simply 4 questions and a turnaround. What I invite the world to do is judge your neighbor. I found that's what I did best. And to write it down. That's the mind stopped. And then to investigate. Ask 4 questions, turn it around. So I simply come with 4 questions.
But the 4 questions are about someone's projection. I mean, you say don't look at yourself because that's a very hard process for most of us. But you say look at someone else.
Yes.
Try to describe it. Try to figure out if it's true. Because we deceive ourselves. And then you turn it around. But turning it around basically meaning look at yourself.
Yes. Simple.
So you made a verbal mirror. Is that a good word?
Yes. Excellent. Excellent.
This teaching of you, which is very simple, but I've seen a little bit of it during one of your sessions, takes people into a deep process of self-discovery.
Yes, it does.
And it takes a while for them.
No.
I mean, we discuss it here in 2 minutes, but do you ever see people saying, oh yes, well, I do it and hey, my life has changed?
Yes.
It does?
Yes.
Why? That's quick.
And it's consistent. I hear this always. It's rather remarkable, this going inside thing, once we know how to do it.
Mm-hmm. If I compare it to, for instance, a Zen monk who'd sometimes, you've been sitting there and doing Zen meditation for days, and then the guy asks you one crazy question. Mm-hmm. They call it koans, but sometimes he just hits you with a stick or does something, and then you come to a sudden realization who you are. For instance, that you are not a stick, or that the guy is not trying to hit you because he hates you, things like that. Is it a similar process?
It is. Every question's a stick.
Is a stick to wake you up?
Yes, and it does. Because it takes you in where the illusion is dispelled and we can see it and we have peace inside of us and therefore peace on earth. And I'm about the end of suffering. That's my interest because that's people's interests. They're very tired of the pain and we haven't had a way. And this works for thousands of people and I move by invitation. I'm invited, I come. If I'm not, I sit with my husband and children and grandchildren at home and have a wonderful life.
It sounds like the people from NATO could do with these 4 questions and turn them around, couldn't they?
Yes. I see all the generals in the world coming together, doing war where it belongs, on paper, because the bombs are just too large now. But to
becomes a computer screen, button pushing.
Yeah. So do the war on paper to judge each other, and then to investigate and turn it around. That's the end of war. Everyone wants peace inside. We would all have peace in the world if we knew how. But it begins with the individual.
I've seen in that you take this work to a level of, say, even looking at businesses. We're talking at the world, but you give teachings or trainings or seminars for business people or people who say, how can we change the way we act in the world on a wider scale?
Yes, entirely. I love that. Yeah.
That's a little bit more American than we're sitting here in front of an Eastern Indian painting. In the East they say, well, stick to yourself, help yourself, work on yourself, and that's enough. But so you're taking this a little bit more American, spread it around the
I take it everywhere. It's just 4 questions. It doesn't have a prejudice about color or race or country or business or no business. It has no prejudice. It works everywhere. But in business, we find what everyone wants. When we're free, we're fearless, we're straight, we're honest, we're sane, we're loving, and life is fun.
It's a good business model. Anyway, if you're interested in the work of Byron and Katie, we'll give you the phone numbers, and you have done books and videos about your work.
Yes.
So I wish you the best of luck, because I think the world can use a little bit of work on itself and thereby freeing itself. Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you.
I would like to introduce myself. I'm Siddartha, and I'm here to interview an awakened woman, Byron Katie, who happens to be with us in Amsterdam at the moment for a few days. She comes from America, and I've had the fortune to spend a couple of evenings with her, but other than that, I don't know much about her. And this is a chance for me to get to know Byron, and for all of you folks to get to know her. So, Byron, welcome to this interview.
Thank you.
And you're from America.
I am.
You were born and raised in where?
In California, born in Texas, and my mother gave me birth there, and a couple of weeks later we came back home to California.
California.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is this your first time in Amsterdam, or you've been?
No.
You've been here before?
Yes.
Great.
Yes.
Wonderful city, huh?
It's a wonderful city. I come visit my friends Art and Tasha, and it just kind of has grown from there.
Okay. So now for our audience and just in general, why are you here?
Invitation.
Invitation.
Always.
Always. So something's happened to you. What's happened to you?
I found a way to be consistently happy.
And how did you discover this?
Inside of me. I was lying on a floor one morning, and I was asleep. I opened my eyes, and everything was clear. And this work that I bring, I call it the work of Byron Katie. But it was born inside of me, and it wouldn't allow unhappiness to grip me or to stick. And so that's what I bring to Amsterdam. That's what I bring all over the world.
Now, this happened some years ago. 1986, yes. I think it was.
Yes, 13 years.
And you had been depressed for some time at that point.
Yes, extremely depressed.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
For many years.
7 or 8 years.
7 or 8 years. Mm-hmm. And you had tried many therapies and things?
No therapy.
No therapies?
No.
You were on medication, or?
No, just very into trying to control it myself.
Uh-huh.
I used everything. I had a successful business, had a beautiful husband and children. I had, there was no reason not to be happy, and yet I was dying.
But you had not been in a formal therapy of any kind?
No.
No.
No religion, no help, no, just left with the anger and confusion.
And you were just in this misery day after day after day after day, and then one day the misery stopped.
Yes, I could see. It was clear. And that's what I bring here.
And was there anything that you did to make this misery stop, or did it was this what they call grace or something?
I would say I became tired of it beyond what I could know. And I just got real. I just got real. So I began with what I did best. That's judging my neighbors. So what I invite the world to do is, if they think this work would serve them, is to judge their neighbor, write it down, ask 4 questions, and turn it around. And that's the work that sums it up. Just simple.
So this is really what's become known with you. This is part of you. This thing called the work.
Yes, it's what I am.
And it is a process that you're giving to people or introducing to people, showing them how to use this on themselves.
It's an inquiry, and people don't need to be shown. I don't know why they invite me. The little books are free. The work's always by donation, and that's not even necessary. The little books that tell how to do it are mailed. We mail them all over the world at no charge. And through donations, we're able to do that, just person by person by person. No one needs me. It's just 4 questions. That's it. Simple.
So, can you go into that a little bit more? Then how do you? I know personally, but because I did some work with you last night and
Yes.
before, but for everybody else who doesn't know you, what is unique about this, or is it unique?
The 4 questions. When people enter the investigation, these 4 questions, it leaves no illusion about what reality is. It's for people who are tired of the pain, are tired of fooling around, and just want to get to it. I know a little 14-year-old or 15-year-old young man called me this morning, and he wants to take this certification course that I'm offering here in Holland. And I said, sweetheart, I love that you would do that. And would you ever think life could be so simple? And he said, yes. Yes, I think life could be this simple. I've been doing the work for a few weeks. And this young man, anything that happens in school, he just judges it, writes it down, investigates, and he's free. And this is not unique, it's for everyone.
So can we give an example of this work? So, for example,
Yes.
if I was angry with my girlfriend,
Yes. So your girlfriend should what? Just be a child, be spontaneous? What advice could she use from you?
so I should put this down first. How she should be different than she is.
Yeah, just one line.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so she should.
Yeah, she should be more caring.
Okay, is it true? That's the first question. Can you really know that that's true?
Mm-hmm.
Can you know more about her life and what's best for it? Can you even know that it's better for you? Can you really know that it's true she should be more caring?
No, we can't know it's true.
No, no, no. Who are we to say what her path is? Can we know more than God?
No.
So the third question is, how do you treat her when you attach to that thought? She should be more caring, and she's not.
So it's a way to sort of looking at seeing how I react to this idea.
Yeah.
What this idea is doing to me.
And how does it feel inside of you
Mm-hmm.
when you think she should be more caring, or you think, I want her to be more caring? How does that feel?
Usually it's not feeling good.
Yeah, and it separates you from the one you love.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And it's the direct reaction of the thought, not your girlfriend. She's just doing her sweet life perfectly.
But one of the things that was unique that I noticed with you is that you were telling people, don't drop these feelings and don't drop these concepts.
I don't say don't drop the feeling, but who can, you know?
Mm-hmm.
What I say is where you were going with it, and that is don't bother dropping the story, as I call it. I want her to be more open. Don't bother dropping it. We're just investigating. This isn't about losing anything. What I say is letting go is an outdated concept that never worked,
Mm-hmm.
in my experience. It's never worked. If we could drop them, we would be a peaceful race, a peaceful race of humans. So, sweetheart, the fourth one is, who would you be without this story? I want her to be kinder. Who would you be without that story?
Yeah, we'll be happier.
Yeah, you'd be in the presence of your perfect mate.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I say for me, that's the one in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I bring a thing called the 3 kinds of business.
Mm-hmm.
And I notice when I'm mentally in someone's business that there's a separation that I feel. So if I'm mentally in, say you're mentally in your girlfriend's business, you can't be present with me here. And who needs separation? You know?
Mm-hmm. So it's a way of freeing us from these concepts and emotions that sort of hold on to us and grab us.
It's living now where life is. You're not in the past of a girlfriend or in the future of a girlfriend. It's now. You know, I feel holding your hand, and I feel this wonderful, and your smile. You're my whole world.
Mm-hmm.
You know, or the trees and the flowers and the sky and the sun.
Mm-hmm.
You
But
know,
I can
give me that.
I can feel your presence and that you're totally here.
Yes.
And this is beautiful. But for people who are caught up in these concepts and
I
feelings,
say, good. Welcome to investigation.
welcome to investigation. So
Yes.
your approach is to investigate these things.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't really teach meditation as
This is meditation. It takes a while for people to discover that. This is the ultimate meditation.
uh-huh.
Yeah, this talk that we're doing, for me, it's silence.
Mm-hmm.
So it's meditation, and it's a silent meditation. It's not easily understood. It's a way that hasn't been discovered in the world till now, I hear. And it's fast. I hear many people tell me it, in 5 minutes, they undo what psychology has attempted to do or could do in 10 years. And I like that. It shows me when I'm invited to a place that I'm bringing something that's valuable. And I let people be the storytellers of that. I just say yes and show up.
And I happened to visit your website this morning just to check,
welcome.
and it's a pretty website. You have
Thank
a
you.
very pretty face on the website.
Thank you.
And on this website is the 4 questions and the whole program, really, how to work this.
Yeah, the work is free.
And what is the name of this website? Can you remember it?
If people just go to a search engine and put Byron Katie in there, it'll show up for them.
Uh-huh.
But it's www.thework.org.
Yeah. Okay, great. So I just want to put that out so if people are tuning in, they can connect with
Yeah.
it. And what are you're traveling the world now. You're showing this work in different places. Have you done this before in Amsterdam, or
Yes,
you have done it previous times?
yes.
And where else are you doing it? Where are you taking this?
On this tour, I began in Ireland. It was wonderful.
Mm.
And then I went to Paris. I went to France. Then I moved to London.
Mhm.
And then from London, Germany, I believe. And then Germany to Amsterdam. And then I go back to Germany. And then on to Israel. Then to Italy. And looking forward to Northern Ireland. And then I began with the U.S.
And you're touring the U.S. You're doing tours in the U.S. too.
Always. I don't stop.
You don't stop.
I don't stop. If there's an invitation, I'm there.
Hmm.
If it's possible. But these little books move much further than I could, so no one needs me. And
are there people? Are there specific people that are being trained by you to do this work? Because somehow in your hands, you're asking the questions, but then there's some follow-up questions because we all have a tendency to lie to ourselves. So that when we start to answer these questions, just getting at the truth isn't always quite so easy.
well, the follow-up questions are just the same questions again.
Mm-hmm.
You have another problem
Mm-hmm.
about the same problem, investigate.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, come to see that it's just maybe not what you thought it was. And that's freedom.
Now you came to this awakening Through investigation or
No.
without investigation?
It was just alive on the floor. I opened my eyes. I could see nothing was true.
Mm-hmm.
I just saw nothing true.
Mm-hmm.
Then I saw that everything was backward. And I saw that before a thought appeared, there was absolute peace. And with the thought, there was a contraction. And that's all of it, right there. That's all 4 questions in the turnaround. And because it's awake inside of me, nothing can stick. And I find that as I travel the world, people who investigate for a while, who use these questions, it wakes up inside of them also. It's like an inoculation. It's like being inoculated with a virus that doesn't let go eventually, and it's the end of war. And the knots begin to untie. And this is consistent reporting. And
But it wasn't working on these questions that led to your awakening exactly.
no, they woke inside of me the way they're waking for thousands of people.
With the awakening, these questions awoke at the same time.
That was the awakening.
That was the awakening.
The investigation is the experience of that awakening for everyone. Hard to hear, huh?
Yeah, it's a little hard to quite grasp.
Yeah.
But you're quite beautiful, and your eyes are quite shiny, and your presence is there.
I'm a secret.
You're a secret.
I'm a secret.
Yeah. And you had not much contact at all with the spiritual world or this world of gurus and enlightened people at anything before this awakening.
What I say is women from Barstow. No.
No, not for women from Barstow.
No. I had a religion. I had a very sacred religion. My children should pick up their socks. My husband should love me.
Mm-hmm.
My family should listen and hear what I say. That was my religion.
Your beliefs were your religion.
Yes. A person's belief, that's all the religion they've got. There's no room for something higher than that. We're attached to what should be to keep us from the beauty of what is. And again, it's so simple. It's just sitting here with you. It's not difficult. But this attachment to a concept, this religion we attach to, that my husband should hear me or my girlfriend should be kind. You see, it keeps us from this presence.
So our beliefs keep us from our presence. But you know this. I don't know. Maybe I've been around this stuff too much.
They don't keep us from being present. To investigate, you see, that's the end of it. We keep us from being present. Mm-hmm. Simple way to say it.
Are you familiar with the avatar people? Or there was an avatar training that was happening? Mm-hmm. Anyhow, they did a lot of investigation of beliefs, it seems to me, in there. Are you familiar with that process or that?
I get to hear every process, every religion, every guru, I get to hear it all. Mm-hmm. I get to hear all of the stories. Mm-hmm. And I have heard much about Avatar. Mm-hmm. I have many friends who have come to the work that come directly out of Avatar.
Uh-huh. And what did they say, for example, the difference between your work and the Avatar work, or is there?
What I hear is they prefer the simple investigation rather than what they experienced. And I don't know that all would agree with that. I don't know. You know, the work is simply 4 questions. It's not a thing. It's not a cult. It's just 4 questions. No one can own it.
Anyhow, you like to keep it simple. But just as I'm interviewing you, I'm just thinking, because now that you are an awakened one, and
that's your term for it.
Okay.
I'm awake to what hurts and what doesn't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. The process. But you must be also then familiar with other teachings and other work that's operating in these
like
realms.
I say, I get, sooner or later, someone sits on the chair next to me or that couch, and I get to hear it.
Yeah, I'm a disciple of Buddha, and I'm with Jesus, and I'm with Krishna. So you must be getting all of this at this point.
I do.
And do you relate at all to anything else other than your own personal work? I know, for example, you have a certain relationship with Kali Shapiro and with Isaac, who's now in town.
Kali has discovered the work, and she is, what I hear from her is, it's everything she's been waiting for. Just 4 simple questions. And,
She's very excited about your work.
She's, people enter the work. I don't know anyone that doesn't get excited about it.
Mm-hmm. And I know Isaac is also quite excited about your work, and he's recommending for people, etc.
Yeah.
And are you also familiar with the work that Isaac is doing, with the kind of process that he is doing?
I am a respecter of every way. I don't see one as more powerful than another. I just open my arms to all of it. And for me, I like to keep it very simple, as you say.
Mm-hmm.
Just no religion. Just if I have a problem, I write it down, I investigate it, I set myself free, and that's about all the religion I can handle. Just to, can I just be clear enough to have a little happiness now?
So it's all individual work. But, we're all individuals working on ourselves, but we're also part of a collective, a group, a country. And are you connecting at all, or do you relating at all to the political situations that are going on? Or
yes, I love following that.
Uh-huh.
I work with people from Kosovo. I work with people from Yugoslavia that are on the other side. I get to work with people involved with the NATO thing. I'm very interested.
In an individual basis, or in a more whole way?
All of it.
All of it. And you have any thoughts or any ideas about this horrible war that's going on at the present time?
Yes, I do.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone from any country, from any city or township that has a problem with it, that isn't comfortable with it, that is feeling some pain over it, to simply put it on paper, ask 4 questions, and turn it around and find your own freedom. We're all Kosovo inside until we free ourselves.
Is there a feeling that if the people who are not directly involved in the war sort of free themselves, that this would also help
Absolutely.
Bring that war to a close of some kind?
Absolutely.
Uh-huh.
Absolutely.
Uh-huh.
Because that space of clarity, it knows what to do, it knows where to go, it knows when. It's still, and it's a representative of what it is, peace. And it travels faster than any war. War doesn't end. War teaches war.
Mm-hmm.
And this investigation is the end of war, for those who are interested in the end of war. But we would rather focus on Kosovo than in the war within us.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're Kosovo, you see? But until it ends here, it doesn't end.
So you're recommending we work more on ourselves if we're concerned about
I
things.
say do both.
Do both.
It's self-love. To contribute something to people who are suffering, to contribute some love and care, it's an act of self-love. We like us when we do that. That's what we are. We're caring, loving beings. And my interest in bringing this investigation is to simply give people a way of experiencing yet a higher awareness of that.
And the idea of evil, is that just an idea, or is there such a thing as, evil in the world? Many people see this Milosevic as sort of a embodiment of this at this time. Yeah. The Adolf Hitlers of this world and all. Is it just that he forgot to ask the 4 questions of himself, or?
Yeah, it's confusion.
Confusion.
It's confusion. Who would teach him otherwise? Who would teach him how to get everything he wants without taking over an entire country? You know, or affecting an entire world. Mm. No one would harm another if they were not confused. I know. My children say that I was the mother from hell. And
How were you
right.
How were you the mother from hell?
Oh, I was confused. I was confused. Confusion is the only suffering on earth.
But out of confusion, you were making them crazy, huh?
Well, they would have to tell that story. What I know is that I wasn't adding anything to anyone's happiness, especially my own. So for 13 years, I've met my children, and they have met what I really am. And the facade is down. I love my children, simple. And now they know it, and I know it. I was a little confused there for a while.
So life is good.
Life is good. I see no evil. If I see evil, I judge it, investigate, and I can see that it was my confusion. This, it doesn't mean that other people's perception is not that there's evil out there. I understand what that is. I lived that for 40 years. It's as real as your hand. That's what we're in, and that's why I bring this investigation. I know the power of living in hell and the influence on our thinking and the deep, dark pit that can be.
And what do you see, is this is having an impact, your work, on individuals around the world? And is it more than just on individuals? Is more things happening out of this?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Can you say something about that?
Well, my experience is everyone who enters the work finds a happy life.
Mm-hmm.
It's rather miraculous. I rarely talk about it. Why do investigation for anything other than the love of peace? Isn't that what we all want? We want our children to be healthy, so we're peaceful. We want plenty of security, so we're comfortable. You see, it's all about that. So I say, let's investigate it and be comfortable from where we are without using and manipulating the world to do it. We're all responsible for our own happiness. I came to see that my thinking was the problem. I had not met it with understanding. So what I bring is a way for people to meet these thoughts that appear with some understanding and a little bit of kindness, because the way we meet our thinking now is like a war zone for some of us. Understanding is the way to healing. To meet our thinking with less than that is not peace. We learn to meet our thoughts with understanding. We meet the entire world with understanding. Who could say something that would be different than what we've met inside of us? There's no new stories. They're all recycled. Thought appears. We're not doing it. So how do we meet it? That's the question. And that's what the investigation's for. A way of meeting it.
It certainly sounds
simple. It
sounds simple, and it is simple, and I've seen it work in my own experience.
Yes, that was much fun.
It was much fun. Yeah. My concern a little bit is that, we're moving very fast in this world, and we're moving quickly to the year 2000. And tremendous forces are operating in the world. You see the Americans bombed the Chinese embassy by mistake, and masses of Chinese, thousands and thousands and thousands, are angry and upset. It seems like this work is a little bit like maybe pissing in the ocean. It seems a little bit, there's so many forces at work that it seems. Are we going to get around to all the Chinese doing this work on themselves? I mean, it seems like we're a long way away from that. And at the same time, things are moving at high speed, in very dangerous directions.
Well, so is this virus. It is moving very fast.
Very fast.
very fast. You know, love moves. It moves. There's nothing that can combat it or beat it. It's solid. It's the real thing. But, you know, confusion again. I know that some students were shot down in a high school in
Colorado.
Yes, and there are people there doing the work with some of the parents
Oh,
and
there
students.
are.
Yes, and but you know, our president says we have to teach our children, you know, give them an example of some sanity and not violence. And then the same day he'll advocate bombing a country. This is confusion.
There's a great amount of confusion, and
Well, it's confusion to say no violence for our children and then bomb another country. This is confusion. So again, war teaches war, and
so do you have some advice for the American president? Since we're on this subject?
I do.
Oh, great. Let's...
To judge his neighbor, write it down and ask for questions and turn it around. And to bring some peace into his life and therefore ours as a world.
And do you think he should
I
halt
can say
the
that to
bombing also? And,
Well, you know, I can't know what's best. I advocate to God. I advocate to what is. I'm a lover of what is. I respect that. I know that I don't bomb. That's what I know. I don't bomb my children. I don't bomb my friends or my family with my lack of understanding anymore. So I can't know what's best for the world. What I would say is just that simply.